Web navigators, hello and welcome to PC Tips and Tricks. To access the BIOS-UEFI, there is the basic solution which consists of pressing a specific key, often del, F2, F10 or F12, immediately after the computer starts up, but not necessarily practical in its execution. This is where you can change the boot order, set the time and/or enable hardware features. The BIOS stands for Basic Input-Output System, and its successor UEFI stands for Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, defines an interface between the firmware and the operating system of a PC. This interface succeeds the BIOS on some motherboards. It offers a graphical interface, support for large capacity drives, and improved security features. However, the term BIOS is still commonly used to generally refer to the motherboard's firmware. Its main role is to be stored on a chip on the motherboard. Called ROM stands for read-only memory. Its role is to initialize and test the hardware at startup memory, processor, drives, etc. before loading the operating system. Windows or other process is called POST. It stands for Power On Self-Test. This command asks the computer to restart immediately and access the interface directly of the firmware. BIOS-UEFI explanation of this command: shutdown. Stop system shutdown, F for force. Forces the closing of all running applications without warning or user intervention. T for time, specifies a delay before the restart. Expressed in seconds, 0 means the action, the restart, must be executed immediately. R for restart indicates that the system must restart completely after shutdown. Babu stands for firmware. The most important here indicates that the computer must boot directly into the user interface of the firmware, BIOS or UEFI. After the restart, this parameter appeared in Windows 8, 10, 11. We will see a little later in the video that the directives F and T0 are problematic in the execution of the request. It is possible, however, to access the BIOS-UEFI with the restart options. It's over here. Here is now how to create the shortcut. Right-click on your desktop or in the folder you have chosen to put the shortcuts. Select New, then Shortcut. In the item location field, indicate and/or copy and paste the complete command, which will be indicated in the description. This command may work in some cases and not in others. In general, the order of switches or parameters after the shutdown command does not matter from a functional point of view. Windows analyzes the command string and processes all the switches it recognizes. For the video, I put the entirety of the command to show you the errors that this produces. Click on Next, give a name corresponding to the shortcut BIOS-UEFI access. Click on Finish. However, the shutdown command modifies the state of the operating system and therefore requires elevated privileges to run correctly, especially with the FW and F parameters. If the shortcut is not run in administrator mode, Windows could simply ignore it or display an error message. It is therefore necessary to configure the shortcut so that it always runs in administrator mode. Right-click on the shortcut you created, select Properties in the context menu. Make sure you are on the Shortcut tab. Click on the Advanced button in the new Advanced Properties window. Check the box next to Run as Administrator. click on OK to close the Advanced Properties window. I also take the opportunity to change the icon of the shortcut that I prepared beforehand. Attention, it must be the icon fine. Finally, click on Apply, then on OK. To close the main properties window running with administrator privileges, thus ensures the proper functioning of the command to access the BIOS-UEFI. It is possible that when you click on this shortcut, Windows will ask for a UAC confirmation if it has not been disabled by you. UAC stands for User Account Control. See video NDGV31, how to configure user account control. The failure of the command is possible especially on Windows 10-11 systems, as we can see in these two following tests. One of the main reasons why this might not work is that the VFW parameter is not supported by your firmware most probable cause. This parameter is relatively recent and depends on the implementation of the UEFI interface by the manufacturer of your motherboard, Asus, Dell, HP, etc. Some UEFI systems, even recent ones or certain specific implementations, simply do not recognize the signal sent by Windows with this parameter. The command then behaves as if you had typed shutdown F-T0R but without FW, meaning that the PC restarts normally under Windows instead of entering the firmware interface. As requested, to remedy this, right-click on the shortcut, then select Properties in the target path. Delete what is necessary for the video. I only delete F, then Apply and OK. Perform a test again, and it's a failure. I go back to the properties to delete the parameter T0. There you go, it's done. And I perform a test again, which this time is successful. The fact that the command works without FEF and without T0 reveals that the firmware does indeed support the direct restart function, but that the addition of the other parameters created interference or confusion in the execution of this command. The T0 conflict is the most brutal parameter for an instant restart, leaving Windows to manage the closing of applications without the F option. And without the T0 parameter gives the system a period of time to correctly process the shutdown and access to the BIOS-UEFI. Now that I know that the shortcut is executable, I can move it. Here is how to insert it into your Start menu via Windows Explorer. In your folder where the shortcut is located. It's better. No, I'm saying it, right-click on the shortcut, then select Pin to Start. If you are using Files Explorer, here's how to do it. Right-click on the shortcut, then select Show More Options. Then select Pin to Start. But with Files Explorer, it's a little different. We have a shortcut here. Click on All. And here is our shortcut. Right-click, then select Pin to Start. I go back to the Start menu, I delete this one, and I can configure the location of the shortcut. And there you go. You now have your BIOS-UEFI access shortcut. we are reaching the end of this presentation video. I hope that this video was helpful. I'll see you soon in the next video.